The diplomatic row over the death sentence awarded to Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav over spying allegations in a secret court in Pakistan is continuing. The Pakistan Army held a press conference in which the issue came up. What are you hearing?
Well, basically what has happened is that there was a briefing by the Pakistani military spokesman, Lieutenant General Ghafoor, and what he basically mentioned was that they had taken a conscious decision not to give consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav while the court martial was underway, and there seemed to be an indication from the Pakistani military spokesman that the Pakistani side is not going to pull back in any way on the issue of Kulbhushan Jadhav, that there will be no relenting. He mentioned that Jadhav's case will now go to the appellate court, and the military will wait for the appellate court's verdict. And what the spokesman indicated was that the Pakistani military has enough evidence against Jadhav, and that they could prove the charges against him. Now, if you've been following this matter, you would be aware that Sartaj Aziz, who is the foreign policy chief of Pakistan, had a briefing a few days ago at which he read out a statement listing the seven odd charges against Kulbhushan Jadhav. Sartaj Aziz did not give any evidence to back up these charges, and Sartaj Aziz also indicated that Kulbhushan Jadhav would now have the opportunity to go to the appellate court in the first instance. Then if the appellate court turns down his appeal, it will go to the Pakistani military chief. If the Pakistani military chief also turns down Jadhav's appeal, it will go to the president of Pakistan.
So the interesting connection that I am making from whatever I have understood is the Baloch connection. Usair Baloch has been arrested. He is part gangster, part politician. Is it the best way to describe him?
Yeah.
And there have been a couple of other arrests in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and we know that there is an insurgency going on in Balochistan. Is it how would you describe it? Is it a low-key insurgency, or?
Well, the insurgency in Balochistan is something that Pakistan has been very intent on crushing, and there have been several military operations over there. Clearly, there is a renewed focus on Balochistan because of the China-Pakistan economic corridor, which is centered around Gwadar port in Balochistan. So obviously, people are really focusing on that. There are some people who are saying that the effort to prosecute Kulbhushan Jadhav is part of these Pakistani efforts to ensure the success of the CPEC. Well, possibly there is a link, and there were these three other people who have been arrested from Pakistan occupied Kashmir. We really don't know who these people are, but there are reports in the Pakistani media saying that they were also working as spies for India. Now these are allegations that have been made in the past. We haven't had any proof ever, and Pakistan has always blamed India of fomenting unrest in Balochistan. But whenever the question of providing proof has come up, they always talk about compiling dossiers and handing it over to the UN, but we never get to see these dossiers. This evidence, so-called evidence, has never emerged in the public domain.
So, like you said, Pakistan said that it is going ahead to the United Nations with a dossier on this case. So now, does it mean that it now gets into an international forum where this will be fought? What are India's options in such a situation?
If you're talking about specifically the instance of Jadhav, India has been saying that India wants consular access so that it can mount a proper legal defense for Jadhav. As far as internationalizing issues between India and Pakistan is concerned, Islamabad has always resorted to this ploy. Despite India maintaining at all times that it wants issues such as this to be addressed and resolved bilaterally, Pakistan has always tried to rope in the international agencies such as the UN, has tried to rope in Western powers such as the US. You would have noticed that even during US NSA McMaster's latest visit to Islamabad, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif spoke about possible US mediation on Kashmir. So, I mean, this is like the standard operating procedure for Pakistan.
Spy versus spy, whenever it happens between India and Pakistan, it looks like it is also a sort of diplomatic bargaining chip, something that, doesn't get any worse, but it gets sort of dragged on. In the case of Sarabjit Singh, for example, he spent so many years in prison and
then died in a Pakistani prison.
He was killed by inmates. So, my question is, do you think that this is just going to drag on and people will lose interest? Do you really think that Pakistan is going to sentence Kulbhushan Jadhav to death, or is it a story that is going to take a longer life and then people?
I think this is going to be, I mean, to answer your question more specifically, I have said this in the past, and I think that Kulbhushan Jadhav's case is linked and is linked to the instance of the former Pakistani army officer Muhammad Zahir Habib, who has apparently been kidnapped or has disappeared somewhere in Nepal. He has been linked to Pakistan's inter-services intelligence agency, and there are even reports that Habib was part of a group that helped track and capture Jadhav. So, I mean, there are a lot of people who are now conjecturing that, and Habib going missing almost coincided with the way Pakistan announced the death sentence for Jadhav. So a lot of people are conjecturing that this could be an effort to try and exchange Jadhav for Habib. Well, it's all possible. I mean, spy versus spy, this is something that has happened. Countries with antagonistic relations have had spy exchanges. The US and Russia have done it in the past. It has happened in the case of Germany and the West. East Germany in the past, I'm talking about. So, I mean, a spy exchange of this manner or an exchange of prisoners of this manner cannot be ruled out. But we still don't have any clarity on Habib, whether he is in the custody of authorities in Nepal or in India. So clearly this is something that's going to be dragged out. But I think we should make it pretty clear that any effort to execute Jadhav or to implement that death sentence would really put back India-Pakistan relations in a big way, and it would be another major blow at a time when bilateral relations are at an all-time low. So I mean, things are really bad, and I think it would go even worse than that. So I really think there will be people even in Pakistan who would be advising people over there to take a more cautious approach and not go forward with the implementation of this death sentence.
That was a HT quick take on the continuing diplomatic row between India and Pakistan over the death sentence given to Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav over alleged spying. Thanks for watching.